Hey, so do you hate when people call you shy, or they say things like, why are you so quiet? Why are you such a quiet person? And it irritates the shit out of you, right? So in this video, I wanna help you understand why you're having such a big reaction to those comments, and then how to radically accept yourself. Because until you do, you're gonna keep perpetuating this shyness. Okay, so let's go, let's get into this. So if you're already a part of our community, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Rubin and I'm a transformational coach. This channel is dedicated to helping you overcome social anxiety. So if that's something you experience, consider hitting that subscribe button. And there's a bell notification beside that. Make sure you hit that so that you know right when I release a new video. And if you want to connect with me on a more personal level, you can follow me on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you there, and I would love to hear more about your experience with social anxiety. Okay, and I want to start here by opening your perspective here, because you might be thinking, oh my God, is it okay to be shy? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it okay to be more quiet, more reserved? And it's not about that, okay? It's not about whether it's right or wrong or good or bad. This video is to help you explore why you have such a strong reaction to being called shy or quiet, or why you do everything in your power. You try so hard to be confident and outgoing to avoid being called shy. And then you get called shy and quiet anyway, and it's so frustrating, right? Okay, and the reason you have such a strong reaction, this always goes back to your history and your experiences with that label of being shy. It's the way people made you feel when they called you shy and quiet. Most importantly, it's the emotions that got dumped on you, or the shame that got dumped on you for being quiet, what you internalized, and what you've associated being called shy and quiet with. Because ultimately, what's this resulted in is you being very hard on yourself. You're judging yourself for being shy and quiet. And we want to get into this. We want to use this. We want to explore, why do people pass judgment, okay? People pass judgment on you in order to preserve their self-worth, okay? And when people pass judgment on you, especially with other people, okay? If they're passing judgment on you, it's to preserve their self-worth. And how do they preserve their self-worth? It's to get acceptance, admiration, and approval of other people. Because when they get that acceptance, admiration, and approval from other people, it keeps their self-worth, or that fragile sense of self-worth that they have, it doesn't get ruptured, it stays intact. Okay, and the key sentiment here is that victims become perpetrators. Victims become perpetrators. What do I mean by that? Is now that you were a victim of somebody else's judgment. Oh my God, you're so quiet, you're so shy, you're so awkward and weird, okay? You were a victim of that judgment. Now what do? Is you start perpetrating it. Who do you perpetrate it against? Yourself. You start judging yourself for being weird and awkward and shy and quiet, okay? So this is what I mean. It's resulted in you being a victim of it and now perpetrating it against yourself. Sometimes you'll perpetrate it outward. You'll externalize it outward as a deflection. So for example, I was socialized in toxic masculinity. And within these groups, young men, the entire dynamic was around shaming each other, burning each other, putting each other down, taking each other down a peg, okay? And after, my experiences in that group, the mentality that I took on was kill or be killed. Simple as that. It's mere survival. If you're not shooting off at the mouth and trying to burn somebody else, it's going to be coming at you. So I started doing that preemptively. So I experienced it first, and then I actually did both, judging myself about it, but then as a deflection, perpetrating it outward and starting to shame other people. Okay, and if you're struggling with that self-judgment, constantly beating up on yourself for that, being shy, being awkward, weirdo, quiet, okay? And you can't break free, then I encourage you to book a call with me. I'm gonna put a link below the video. I'm gonna put another one up here. I encourage you to book that call so that we can look at that self-judgment together. We can shift that from self-judgment into self-compassion, an encouraging voice that's gonna ultimately help you break free from that shyness and that quietness. Okay, so let's go back here. I wanna give you a really clear example so you can sink your teeth into this thing. Victims become perpetrators. We had a student that we were working with in Trigger Free, absolutely hated being called shy. It was so triggering for him to be called shy and quiet. Me as well, I've experienced this as well. But I wanna give you an example of this student. And we started tracing back to where this strong emotional reaction started coming from. Okay, where did it come from? What are the roots of this thing? And what we started to explore, what we ended up navigating through and processing through was his early experiences with his mom, okay? His mom would be hanging out with her girlfriends, okay? And so initially these girlfriends would start to make comments. Oh, wow, your son's really shy. He's a really quiet kid, but with that judgmental tone, okay? And so what did mom do, okay? She was the victim of the judgment, okay? And then what was the shift in becoming the perpetrator? Because then when she would hang out, always be hanging out with people or new people, she would preemptively judge her son, our student, okay? She would be proactive in saying, oh yeah, here's my son, but don't worry about him. He's quiet and he's really shy, okay? Now let's peel this back a bit, okay? We want to really dissect this, okay? Because what's really happening? Remember, mom's self-worth was attacked, okay? And now in order to preserve her self-worth, she has to seek admiration and approval and acceptance from these people that she's hanging out with. How does she do that? It's at the expense of our student. It was at the expense of our student. But what does a young boy feel? He feels shamed. He feels like his mom's completely disconnecting from him in order to be accepted into this group and leaving him hanging on his own. He feels abandoned. He feels like there's something wrong with him. And you can imagine for a young boy how excruciatingly alone he feels in that moment. How abandoned he feels in that moment. For a little 5-year-old to be emotionally abandoned in that moment, that is overwhelming. Because basically what his mom did was, ew, get away from me. Ooh, I don't know this guy. I don't know him. Can I please be accepted into your club? Please, please, please. I don't know him. He's just a shy, weird kid, okay? And so you can imagine moving forward, okay? When he's an adult and somebody calls him shy and quiet, the label being used is shy, but on the inside, the internal feelings that are happening is a complete rupture. It's a feeling of being completely abandoned emotionally, a feeling of complete disconnection. You do your thing over there and preserve your self-worth. You're alone with that. I'm not with you. I'm over here preserving my self-worth. Okay, so it makes sense why that you would do everything you can to not be called shy and quiet again, because you can see what it's really associated with inside. And that's why we will tend to put on a mask. We will try to be extroverted. We'll try to be confident in order to never feel that disconnect or that emotional abandonment, which is labeled as shy, ever again. And this is a very empowering thing, because when you can start to see where your reactions are actually coming from, okay, you're gonna be able to shift your perspective and notice the subtleties here. Because when somebody is talking to other people and saying, he's shy, okay, that's different. They're passing judgment, okay? But if somebody is speaking to you face to face and saying, hey, why are you so quiet, okay? What they're really saying is, I don't feel connected to you. You're not connecting with me. They're wanting to connect, but what they're actually saying is, hey, how come you're in your head? How come you're so anxious? How come you're not comfortable with me? They're inviting you to connect with them, Okay, and if maybe you're disconnected, you were connected once and now you're disconnected, they're inviting you to reconnect with them, but you won't be able to see it for what it is and receive that if you're too into your strong emotional reaction. So it's very, very, very important that you accept it. It is okay to be quiet. It's okay to be shy. It's okay to be as you are. Okay, naturally who you are. Because really what you're doing is you're accepting that little 5-year-old that was shamed for being quiet and shamed for being who he was. That's who you're speaking to. You're accepting him for what he is, and ultimately what that's doing is you're accepting you for who you are. And when you have this wholehearted acceptance of yourself, the beautiful thing that comes out of it as a side effect is you stop trying to prove that you're not shy, which never ends well, trying to be super confident right out the gate at the start of the night, and then all of a sudden you're gonna be in your head. It's like that daredevil that starts off, he's gonna make the jump, and then falls completely short, and you're in your head before you know it. That's never the approach, trying to prove yourself. And also, when you are called quiet or shy, remember, you don't get into the emotional reaction. You receive it as an invitation to reconnect because you are accepting yourself as you are, and therefore you get out of your shyness. Okay, because shyness, it's not this permanent thing. It's this transitory state that you can get in and out of, okay? And that's really important to understand. And if you need more help with this, again, book that call below. We can take a look at your situation. We can take a look at the self-judgment and the ways you are perpetuating your shyness. And we also have more resources. We have a free guide and a free masterclass. Both are linked below the video. Extremely empowering resources that you can work a step-by-step process through in order to overcome this shyness or this quietness or these strong emotional reactions. And if you're still with me, thank you so much for watching. Here's some other videos that you can check out next, and we'll talk to you soon, okay? Peace.